Thank you. Welcome to the City of Port Orchard's Lodging Tax Advisory Committee meeting. It's Monday, November 10th, and we have opened this meeting at approximately 11:07 a.m. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time out. And let me first start by thanking you all for serving your community. It's not always easy. And so, hopefully you find some good interactions with our community as part of being part of this process. We are here to allocate the tax dollars that we collect on any and all lodging facilities within the city limits. We'll get into a little bit of that here in just a moment, but I thought let's start off with, because not everybody knows who's here, with some introductions. So my name is John Morrissey. I currently serve as the at-large position on City Council, soon to move to seat 2 after the first year. And I am here because I'm on council.
Pat San Ron, 6.5-year resident in Port Orchard. We have an Airbnb, excuse me. My wife has a booth down at Josephine's, and we're also on the board, my wife and I, at the Polaris Theater for the bringing back to life of that. So I've got 3 different sort of hooks into the community besides being a resident. So
awesome. Well, yeah,
I enjoy
you can play on either side of the table when it comes to LTAC and what gets you in here. So thank you for being here.
I'm John Hall. I'm with Fathoms of Fun. I'm the chair, so we help put on a lot of community events in Port Orchard. We do the parade, we do the fireworks, and we have a royalty court that changes every year and does parades throughout Washington State. So
perfect. Thank you. Shelley?
Hi, I'm Shelley Larson. I'm looking forward to working with all of you. I own 2 Airbnbs on the Port Orchard waterfront, and I've been a member of the community for about 15 years.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for joining us. We're going to have a few other members of this committee. They just could not be present today. Kathy Garcia, who is I believe she manages all marina operations for the Port of Bremerton, and has an office right here on our waterfront, as well as Sam Smith, the current president of the Port Orchard Waterfront Alliance. So I think we're going to have a robust discussion here. Additionally, you guys will do a lot of interacting with our support staff for this community. And so I'm sure you have already interacted with them a lot, but I'd like to have both the ladies from the clerk's office introduce themselves.
I'll go first. I'm Brandy, city clerk for the, obviously, city of Port Orchard. Been here for about 18 years and been the clerk for close to 13. And so this is probably my 17th lodging tax committee meeting. So yeah, I'll have some high level things to go over with you today. And then after that, it'll be brought back to the chair for him to conduct the meeting. So that's who I am.
Perfect.
All right. Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Hi, I'm Janine Floyd. I'm the deputy city clerk. I've been here actually as of yesterday for 16 years. And I assist Brandy in, I know, I assist Brandy in anything she needs assistance with lodging tax and of course other duties as assigned. It's nice to meet everybody.
Thank you, Ms. Floyd. These 2 are incredibly helpful. They have been doing this longer than I have. We lean on their expertise all the time. So if you have a question, please feel free to reach out. Please CC me on any of that as well. But odds are they're going to have a better answer to the question than I. With that being, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Wallace here to talk about some housekeeping things that we need to do for this community.
Thank you, Chair. So Shelley, I just sent you 2 documents that I'm going to be sharing with the committee so that way you're not lost in the loop as to what we're talking about. So we're just going to follow along with the agenda, which is what we've already done, which is the roll call and the introduction. So now I'm just going to do a very, very high level of the RCW that allows you guys to participate in this local government meeting. And then also very high level as what your role and responsibility is as a advisory committee member. So RCW 6728 gave you guys a printout. We do have 3 new members. So that's kind of why I'm giving this presentation. Normally, we have reoccurring members and they already know the process, so I don't go through it. But I do have 3, so I kind of want to do it now. So RCW, very high level. If you look on page 13 of the 17 that I gave you, it talks about what the lodging tax funds are used for or can be used for. It talks about what the applicant's responsibility is as far as reporting purposes in their application, as well as after they've been awarded the funds. And then on the next page, 14, talked about who can be a part of that committee, which means we have equal number of businesses that can that collect the tax to the businesses that use the tax. And then we have a chair who is a non-voting member. He's just the I shouldn't say just he is the chair of the meeting that guides you through this process. And then lastly, it tells you that anybody that applies for these pot of dollars, they're restricted funds. They're only for the use that we talked about on the page before. And then it also notes that if you are a municipality, you are required to follow the same process if you want to use those funds, which means it has to be submitted to the Lodging Tax Committee for recommendation and then brought for council for their final approval. Again, very high level. Then if you look at a different section of the RCW, which I did not provide to you because it's like 70 pages long, and you'll get that for the training. Why we are recording the meeting, why I have to have a quorum. It talks about it as part of the Open Public Meetings Act. So although you're not an elected official, you're an appointed official. And because you meaning the Lodging Tax Committee has a separate section of the state law that triggers you to the Open Public Meetings Act, which means if you have a quorum, which is we are a committee of 7. And so if we have 4 members together in one place, we're required to notify the public because the public can attend. So that's why when I send you emails, it's all BCC'd. So that you don't trigger a quorum, and when we have a handful of people that just whatever thinking, do a reply all, and it could constitute a quorum. So I BCC everybody, and so part of so just for the record, the RCW 42.30.205 states that you are a governing body of a public agency that has its own separate section of the code to conduct this committee meeting. So that's why you are subject to the Open Public Meetings Act. And because of that, the state a few years ago says, because of that, we want you guys to have some sort of training on Open Public Meetings Act, as well as Public Records Act, which means you are now stewards of the public and you're creating documents and you need to maintain those. And we want some appointed and elected officials to have very high level training on what that means as you as a committee member or an elected official. And so I will send you a long email that tells you exactly where to go. You can watch it online. There's 2 sections. I think they're 2 to 3 hours long. It's from the Attorney General's office. You don't have to have a formal long day training to have that. So you'll see that from me. Any questions? There we go.
So I'm going to suggest some operations for this group.
Oh, one other thing, sorry, real quick. And once you're appointed, you have 90 days to complete that training. My recommendation is that you guys have that training before we meet for presentations or deliberations. Although you're still within that 90 days, I prefer you to have that training, but you'll get an email from me in the next day or 2.
So a couple of quick pointers for you, because you don't have city email, right? Which is really the driver of our city's public records requests. If we can keep it in a city email, you're covered. So because you're not issued your own city email, even if, say, Pat, you wanted to ask a question to John, if you wanted to do that via email, I asked that you would CC myself and or Brandy. Doesn't matter either of us.
That's how it gets in.
That's how it gets in the system, and we don't have to worry about your personal email being utilized since you're not being issued a city email address. So same thing for you, Shelley, and anybody else here. If you're interacting with anybody here in any capacity related to your role on this committee, please add Brandy and myself to that email. The last little piece I'll tell you around the Open Public Meetings Act is we always have this thing. How many other council members have I had that conversation with, right? So the good news here is that we're the same number on this committee as we are council members. So you can only have conversations with 2 other people. As soon as you hit a 3rd person, including yourself, then that's 4 and that's a quorum. So even if you were trying to get, basically what it's saying is you can't take your own pulse check on a vote without it being in the public eye, right? So that's really, again, if you just keep those 2 things in mind and you listen to that training, and you'll be in the clear for everything here. And it sounds a lot more complicated than it is, but like I said, just remember how many people you've talked to somebody about, and you CC myself and Brandy on every email. You should have nothing to worry about in this process. Any questions? Okay. All right, funding. So each year, we have a limited number of short-term STRs is what they're called in our world, short-term rentals. We do think that we're picking up Airbnbs and one-offs there, but those aren't generating a ton of lodging tax dollars because there's not 100 of them in a block like a hotel is. So there is generally almost always $100,000. I will say, in anticipation of our meeting and the upcoming FIFA year, I worked as part of my role on the finance committee to up that dollar amount to approximately $130,000 is what we have budgeted for this coming year. We do know that we want a subsection of that set aside for some of the projects that are specifically related to FIFA. And I didn't bring those notes with me to tell you exactly what they are, but my guess is it's the 30 that we added because almost every year we're right at 100. As well as we added some additional outside of LTAC dollars into some things we want to do downtown with our budget as well. So part of our goal is to do some beautification work along the waterfront in anticipation of FIFA. If you did not have the opportunity to see a presentation by, he's actually contracted to work for the city in a multitude of ways. Joshua Johnson came and gave a part of what he did for his company Love Kitsap and some of their LTAC funding. Was that our last council meeting or 2 meetings ago?
So that's what.
It was the last one. Thank you.
Because he was at the Polaris meeting.
To come here. Okay. So if you go back and look at it, it was at our last council meeting and he did a really great job of getting out some of the information. And in fact, I could tell you for sure I know, if it wasn't that one, go back and look at the last, they're all recorded, and on our city website, the last Economic Development and Tourism Committee meeting, he did an even deeper dive with our group in that work to kind of get you an idea of some of the things that I'm talking about that we're doing in that set aside. That is, and I only tell you that because that's going to impact some of your decision making in some of this. While you make the recommendations to City Council can absolutely reject your recommendation and send work back to you. My goal is to minimize that as much as possible so that one, I'm not having you come back here and have meetings with us a bunch of different times. So if I can help inform you along some of the wishes that council has sent as part of this process, yay, as part of this process, that be in a better spot, right?
So we just got done with the new meeting, so.
Perfect. Excellent. Welcome. So we did introductions. I know you missed everybody else's, but I'll give you a chance to quickly introduce yourself.
I'm Annette Stewart and I own Smitty's and Coop right down here.
So, she's a collector. She has an Airbnb, so.
For the record, we have Shelley online.
Yep, Shelley online. Do you know Pat and John? Okay, so Pat and John, I'll let them do another interview after our meeting, informal, but just to keep us moving. So, so that's kind of where kind of where our budget is. What I'm looking to accomplish today, and we have a majority of our members here today, is we want to look at our application. We want to pick a date that we can listen to presentations. Pick a date for deliberations, if it's not on the same day, and then kind of have this. So we're in a unique position this year, and old Councilmember Morrissey here didn't get right on the ball because he had other things going on in life. I would have liked to have this process going by now, because we're going to have a little change well, I think we'll have a change in council members, but every 2 years we change leadership on the different committees. So my goal is to get this done so I don't have to transfer this over to the next person who takes care of whatever we decide after the first of the year. That happened last year in another neighboring city and drew out that process a whole lot longer than it needed to be. So I hope to have this body of work completed relatively succinctly. Before I get into the application stuff, because I think there'll be more discussion on that, I'd like to talk a little bit about our days availability of when we can come back together. So when I'm looking at a calendar, if I put out and I don't think we're going to make a ton of changes, but we'll take a look at that. If we do, I might need to give some time, but my guess is we could probably have our RFP out by Friday if we make some decisions today. Is that putting too much on you? No. Perfect. If we have that out by Friday, I think I'd like it due back. Historically, would it be the 5th or the 12th of December?
Historically the 12th, but we have done the 5th. I think last year because we were.
Is that too short a time frame to get people to?
They
should be ready. They know
I mean,
we're already
they should be
behind.
ready. We're later in the year. And I think 2 weeks is sufficient. Past comments is that they would prefer it to close on a Monday, so they have a weekend to do it. So I think we could probably do a compromise and maybe do the 8th if you wanted.
So with that being said, if we are looking at getting all of our documents back on the 8th, which will generally mean that the clerk's office will probably have that to you that following day.
Maybe roughly.
About a dozen. It would probably be max.
Okay.
And I will just say, like, some of them are going to be more in depth than others.
Yeah.
And so you're just going to need to spend the amount of time that you can. If that's the case, I'm trying not to get us too deep into the holiday season, but I also know that we may need to meet more than once. But I'm looking for presentations. So essentially, if we get them all on the 8th/9th.
And just real quick, the 2 council meetings in December, because
Will be the 9th.
it will be the 9th and the 16th.
I don't know that we have to vote on it in council before the end of the year. It's just the body of work, unless. I'd like it to be done, but it's-
16th, the
that-
council could remand it back to the committee and then you're
Correct.
discussing in January, so.
Well, but I'm hoping that we can get the discussion done before January 1 and then still set that back and then we look at it, but I'm not as worried about that as yeah. So I'm looking at possibly Friday the 12th. I don't know if that's available to clerk's office or not, because that's really
Do what on the 12th?
your presentations.
I'll be in Florida.
Will you? Okay. What does that time frame look like for you? Are you there are
I'm
you
there,
just getting there or getting?
I'm there the 11th, 12th, and coming home on the 15th.
Okay. What do you think about having it due on the 1st? Is that too short?
How about the 3rd?
3rd?
Just trying to keep past comments.
Yep. So if that's the case, you leave when, Annette? You
I
said the
leave
10th?
on the 11th.
11th, okay. Is there a day that following week?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong month. You said the first.
Well, I did.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, first.
The first would work? Does that work?
For the closing, the
For the
first
closing,
closing, yeah,
And
sorry.
then possibly having our presentations that week. This Thursday or Friday that week, the 4th or 5th of December work.
I'm good.
I'm really gonna upset
Oh, okay.
probably.
Which we-
Shelley, what about you? The 4th or the 5th of December to hear presentations from the applicants?
I'm available.
Okay,
And the presentations are about 20 minutes each.
It's been it's been 3 to 5 minutes. Yeah, it's quick.
So probably about a
And then 5 minutes
4
question.
time clock if we plan for it. Okay.
yeah, it's an afternoon, right? And again, depending on how well or how exhausted we are, we may be able to get our deliberations done right then and there. I'm gonna leave that up to this team. However, I'm gonna want to try and schedule deliberations today. So am I hearing that everybody here right now is at 4th or the 5th? Yes. Okay. We have 2 additional committee members that I'd like to have weigh in, so if we can leave it right now until maybe the end of the day, and then we can reach out to them while they're not here and see if that would work for us. And then after that, if we need to have another meeting, I would look at that on either the 8th or the 9th. Good for you?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I appreciate your flexibility on that. So 4th or 5th for presentations, 8th or 9th for a follow-up deliberations if need be. And I think that's awesome. That's the hardest part of this whole thing is wrangling everybody's schedule. So well, up until you guys have a decision to make, that's the hardest thing for me. So okay. The next thing we have is
And this-
our.
Shelley, just confirming real quick, the 8th and 9th is okay
Oh,
with you?
yes, thank you.
Of December?
You're muted.
Those are totally fine for me.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you for keeping me. I'm not used to having somebody there.
Sure.
Okay, next is the application process, which you have in front of you. Some of you know because you experienced it last year. Is there anything anybody has any input on maybe some things they would want to see different? Put some time and effort into it in the past, so.
Well, maybe just a question for perspective, if I may only say so, but can we see past ones to get a frame of reference?
They're all online.
They're all.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yep, I can send you the link.
That'd be awesome, yeah, just to get a feel for it.
So this,
Yeah.
do you want me to elaborate of how the past application?
Yeah.
So this sample here, it was implemented last year for 2025 funds, and it was pretty much a direct copy from the city of Bremerton to mirror what they how they ask. Prior years, it's been a 5-6 page application that asks for anything and everything, and so that's what you'll see online as well. So you'll have a good comparison. And I'll send you guys the link so you guys can look at what past participants have provided and shared and applied for. So yeah, it's what do you guys want from them, and what does that serve a purpose for you to deliberate to make a recommendation of how they're going to use those funds.
So I had some pretty extensive experience applying for lodging tax funding in the city of Bremerton prior to becoming a council member or being on this committee. So that's why I looked at it. I liked some of the things that they look at and some of the reasoning on why I asked for some of those updates and changes. One, a marketing plan, right? Like, what are you doing with your marketing? How are you utilizing these dollars? A financial report. And then knowing that they have all the things necessary to be good. So some of that is, you know, are we propping you up, right? Is that really what this is? Or are these really going towards marketing efforts that bring people from more than 50? I mean, technically, I don't get as pounding my fist on the table about 50 miles away, heads in beds, that kind of stuff, because I think a combination of bringing locals and those from around works best. But we need to understand that you're utilizing this for marketing and pushing our city and getting people to come stay, because that's really why we put that back into the market, so that we continue to grow our tourism efforts. So. No input on the application? Perfect. Then I think the only other thing is, that I'm gonna work on is, just a few things on the instructions with some wording I'd like to tweak, with the clerk to just call out as something we missed in the application last year. Council pushed us back. They wanted some, FIFA specific topics covered in that. So, I'm gonna come up with some places to, input that into the ask to say, while not all tourism related things will incorporate FIFA next year, a good many of them will. How will you incorporate that? And I'll add that to the ask.
But there's a room rate for that.
So there are some things that I think could really help us, right? And so we'll look at it from a council level too. I'm hearing whether or not any of it's accurate, that like you could rent out your house for up to $5,000 a week, and certain things. So I think there will be an influx of folks wanting to do some short-term rentals and things like that, but
Especially if the fast berries supply it very fast.
it's supposed to, right? So they're supposedly aligning all these things to make this as easy on everyone as possible. And it's going to be here before you know it. And I think communication still needs some work, but if we all go in with an open mind and just know that life's going to be a little different for a couple of weeks, I think we'll all be okay. And I don't hear any other changes to the application. We
So-
have our dates.
Just one question about the application.
Yep.
It doesn't state that it has to be complete. Didn't we talk about that last year? Like somebody can't come in with, partial applications, get the same.
Do you accept the application, say it's been received, and so if something's missing, you say we can't accept it, or?
So my role, so I accept them all, and then I push them off to the committee, and then when you guys deliberate, I will let you know who was late. I'll let you know if I see something that wasn't presented in an obvious manner. But outside of that, that's for you guys to depict as to if it's acceptable or not, and justify why they do or do not get funding because of that. So we can put a comment in here that says, my direction from the committee I would need to put something in here that says if it's not complete, it will be rejected.
I would think.
So that's what the committee.
I would think probably right here on number 3, required attachment. Yeah, we can put it on the top of that page too, yeah, on the actual applicant
Accepts
acknowledgement.
the following conditions.
Yeah,
Is it too much for you to send out an email when you receive, say, unfortunately, this isn't complete, you need to resubmit, or this is complete and will be submitted? I don't want to make more work for you, but that's how my permits go. Like if my permit's submitted, it's not, they kick it back and I have to submit before they even accept.
So when I can do a cursory review of obvious documents, I don't look for the information.
Yeah, the quality is separate.
Right. But yeah, if there's source documents that you want clearly attached, yes, absolutely, I can confirm, and then kick it back. Every now and again, I'll have somebody that comes to the counter and hands me a hand application, and I'll take a peek at it, and I'm like, you're missing this, can you send me an email? So I do that, but I don't go through a thorough check.
And then we'll make extra work for you.
Right, but yeah, absolutely, I can do that if that's the direction of the committee, absolutely.
so there's 3 absolute requirements: the marketing plan, the financial status, and the reporting requirements, right? So those 3 things, as well as we allow up to 5 examples of marketing and some of those things. So again, some of it is just making sure that you get your narrative right and those kinds of things. The other things are just things that we need. We need your income statement, your balance sheet, for basically this year, and so basically we'll be asking for 2024 and 2025, and your most current tax return. I would say that's an easy pretty quick check mark for the clerk's office and say if you're not missing those, it's an incomplete. I would also say to the clerk's office, if anything's incomplete before the deadline, it's not coming to this committee. In the event that somebody has all the required documents, but just didn't have some of the sample marketing, some of the additional pieces that we allow for, we can accept those after the fact, but as long as the application's in before the date and time. Good call out.
And I'll note
Thank
that
you.
in the application.
Yeah.
I have a question since I haven't participated in this before. It might be dumb, but the applications haven't been submitted yet and we're going to deliberate on them on the 3rd. Is that a reasonable turnaround time for applications?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was me checking in earlier with Brandy here and just making sure that, yes, in fact, most organizations are gonna be pretty ready to have this done because they would have submitted it before this date already. I just got behind in getting this scheduled and on my calendar.
No, I don't have judgment. I just wasn't sure if, I mean, I don't know how we solicit people to apply. And if they're ready and know about it, and this is a yearly thing, then I have no question. I just thought, is it possible we'll have no applicants if there's that short of a turnaround?
No, we will have no shortage of applicants, I promise you that.
Okay, great, great.
We're gonna have about $100,000 in actual funding to allocate, and you're probably close to $300,000 in asks, if not more.
And my process is, once we open up the application process, I email every former applicant. So they will get an email from me saying, here's the application, it's been opened, and here's the closure date. So they'll get an email from, from myself or Janine. And then we also advertise it in the paper 2 consecutive weeks in a row. And then we'll put it on Facebook, and then we put it on our website. So we make it pretty well known that it's open and available. Every now and again, I'll have a new applicant and they'll reach out to me and I'll walk them through the process. And sometimes they can meet the deadline and sometimes they can't. And that's because of their timeline, not ours. Meaning that it was more than they thought it was going to be to get it done. But sometimes they'll apply the following year, and sometimes they still don't apply.
Coming from the other side, we're looking for that email, so we know we're ready and we're just waiting for it to be open. So most of the people who submit are waiting, they're ready.
Good to know, thanks.
Good question though, Shelley, thank you.
And it's a relatively small pool of agencies or individuals that can apply for this funding anyways, because it's so specific. So it's not like we're trying to canvass, the 10,000 people that live in Port Orchard that could apply. It's not, I know our population's higher, but most of those are children or whatever. So anyways, so it's not a huge population that we're looking for applicants. It's very specific. So great question.
With that, are there any other questions around process, dates, anything else like that?
If there's anything that you guys want historical data from, let me know. Before your meeting, I will have sent you the last committee's recommendations, last 6, 7, 8 years, what they've asked, what was awarded.
Yeah.
And then this year I'll actually have what was reimbursed. So you'll see what was asked, what was awarded, and what was reimbursed. Sometimes
These are grants, right?
it is according to, it is a grant.
Basically, it's an allocation, but yeah, there's
You
no.
have to spend the money first and claim.
Correct. Yes.
And if you don't use it, it doesn't carry forward. It does stay in our pot of dollars, because when we look at it, that pot of dollars, it is only used for this. And so that could potentially impact. I'm not 100% sure if I've seen that everybody's exhausted their funds from this coming year.
No, they haven't. Most of them wait until January 4th and 5th and 6th to get it in, but some of them are routine and regular. So I'll get the numbers to what I have up to the date that we met, and then I'll have the prior numbers. So if there's anything outside of that, let me know. I'll send you a link to everybody for where the previous applications are at, or proposals, so you can see those. If they're not on our website, I'll make sure they are. I think it's hit and miss on the number of years. that they're there. Contracts are all on the website as well, which attaches their proposal. So I'll give you a couple links that you guys can look at.
Go for it.
Either of you for this? Right, okay. So
And Shelley.
the question will be about-
And Shelley.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect. What do the deliberations look like and how do you actually get to that consensus on what the final answer is? Is it a voting thing or is it
It's
like a jury where we all try to convince each other?
kind of.
All the above.
All of the above. Yeah, so it's a discussion, right? I will help lead it. Again, you guys have to come to a consensus. Like I said, I want to make sure that whatever body of work comes out, that I feel comfortable that the body that sits behind me is going to give it its blessing and say, yeah, that's good to go, and that kind of thing. But other than that, it's how you feel based off of what we're asking to be the best steward of these funds.
How do you resolve the many conflicts of interest?
For instance, he will apply for funding. He will recuse himself as part of only discussion on his aspect.
I have the same.
I was gonna say, you'll probably have the same thing with Polaris, because they were awarded with some funding last year, same thing.
Okay.
Outside of that, there shouldn't be much. We just ask that you do self-disclose any potential conflict of interest.
And when we have our deliberations, I'll have an Excel spreadsheet that has the applicants listed, what they've asked for, so you can see a side by side, and then you guys can plug in numbers and see what the balance is. Sometimes you get the numbers and then there's either, you gotta reduce or increase. So you'll see that number up on the screen. And let's see if I think there's something else, but
Any other questions? Well, once again, I want to tell you, thank you for your service. We appreciate it. I know the folks that are beneficiaries of these funds really appreciate it because you make a big impact on their event, their organization, and what the experiences are of the citizens of Port Orchard. So thank you. With that, it is 11:44. We will adjourn this meeting.